postpartum moms. I am Claire Newman, the program director here at Mama to Yoga Academy. So I am a postpartum corrective specialist, and I do work and train with a lot of moms in both yoga and movement. And I want to talk today about a position or a pose, or often an exercise called bird dog. And specifically, it's related to women in postpartum health. So this is women who have had a baby 6 weeks to 2 years. And I want to talk about the safety of core control in bird dog. So my issue necessarily, or sometimes with this position, is that a lot of women will collapse in the low back and not engage the core sufficiently, and it ends up actually putting a lot of pressure and tension on the back. Not only it worsens diathesis because we're in a position on hands and knees where gravity is kind of pulling the weight of the abdomen forward, and it just puts a ton of strain on the pelvic floor muscles as well, especially when we're not breathing properly. So this pose, I'm going to teach you kind of bird dog appropriately, sort of more anatomically, using the breath, and as well as using a movement of just stretching the arm and leg forward versus lifting the arm and leg up. So if you come onto hands and knees, you can join me in this position. So just kind of looking at the functionality of this pose, this is usually what women do. So as you can see, if I lift my arm and my leg up, I collapse, right? I'm arching my low back, so there's a little bit of lordosis. I'm trying to reach the arm forward. I have no core control in this position. What's holding me up is generally maybe the strength of my back in this position. So I'm showing the opposite again. This is what most women do. And also when they lift the leg and arm up, they have the tendency to come into this lower lordoic back bend or extension. So what I always train women to do is not that. So again, we most likely, especially after babies, we're in this anterior pelvic tilt. We need to find neutral spine. So what that means is we hug the sides of the pelvis to the midline of the body. It's like pulling into a very tight pair of pants to get those transversus abdominis muscles functioning first and foremost. You can see that my gaze is looking down, so I'm not ahead. I'm trying to keep my neck quite neutral in this position. My hips are over top of my knees, my shoulders over the wrist. So I'm going to take a nice full breath in, and on the exhalation, I'm going to slide opposite hand and foot out. So in this position, you can see my back didn't change. I'm hugging on again, so sides of the pelvis to the midline of the body. The exhalation is really helpful because it's also helping when we kind of create a nice deep exhale. The diaphragm has to work really hard, and when we exacerbate that exhalation, it helps us to engage the TA a little bit more, so those transversus abdominis muscles, and then we bring it back in with another exhalation. So take a deep breath in, we exhale, slide the opposite arm and leg out, so you can see I'm not collapsing in my low back. I'm holding and hugging on really quite strongly in my lower abdominals, so using the TA muscles versus just the rectus abdominis, and then we slide the arm forward. So this is what it sounds like. Take a nice deep breath in. So you can also see when I came back on the exhalation, I'm also feel like I'm squeezing sides of the pelvis to the midline of the body so that my core and my TA muscles are functioning all the time. So if you practice bird dog that way, you'll actually get a lot more core control and core stability and core strength. Remember that movement isn't necessarily or doesn't have to be fast and quick. And when it is, we usually lose the functionality of the posture. So try to think more of synchronizing the movements. The exhalation is going to help us the most because, again, as I mentioned, when the diaphragm kind of squeezes out, we pull on the TA muscles. It helps the pelvic floor as well. So use a nice, long, deep exhalation to help control this position especially. So don't just kind of flail and throw your arms and legs up in this position. Really try to think about the awareness of the posture, and that will give you most of the strength in your abdominal muscles versus just something really quick. So practice bird dog that way. Another way that I like to move is with the gliders or sliders, so something underneath your hand and your foot. I was on a mat, but you can use kind of something that'll help you slide your arm and leg out. But again, neutral spine, so hug the sides of the pelvis to the midline of the body. Nice big exhale, get rid of all that breath to help pull just a little bit more to contract those abdominal muscles. And you will thank me, and so will your diathesis after your baby. Have a good one.